Richard Huckle was born in a middle-class family and was a bit of a loner. At the age of 16, he took part in a month-long expedition to visit a school in Namibia. After leaving education, he took a gap year in Malaysia from 2005 to 2006. He then returned to the country regularly before moving there in 2010. Richard enrolled in a short course with the British Council for a certificate in English language teaching in adults before starting his work as a freelance photographer in local communities around Kuala Lumpur. He also enrolled on an IT course but did not complete his studies. He did part-time photography for Nike Football Club in Malaysia during 2011 and 2012. There were no reports of abuse in this club. Richard is known to have kidnapped two sisters, aged 4 and 6, in Cambodia in 2006. In India, he had persuaded a pastor to allow him to take photos and make videos with the children in an orphanage in Bangalore, offering to make promotional videos for them. On December 19, 2014, he was arrested by officers from British National Crime Agency at Gatwick Airport and was questioned on suspicion of serious offences against children. His arrest followed a tip-off from Task Force Argos, a highly specialised branch of Australia's Queensland Police Service responsible for the investigation of online child exploitation and abuse. He refused to answer questions and was bailed under the condition to stay at his parents' house, though his laptop was seized. Task Force Argos had been aware of a network of paedophiles who operated on the dark web under a network called the Love Zone. They noticed one member who always made posts using unusual greetings and had a distinctive freckle on one of his fingers. Officers used social media and chat rooms to track him down, eventually finding his Facebook page. The profile was fake, but photos of a vehicle led police to Shannon McCall, a care worker from Adelaide. A warrant was issued for his arrest. When entering his house, police saw him online and he was running the website at the time. While investigations progressed, Richard was residing with his parents. He had no criminal record, but the release was only temporary. Following the day of his bail, Richard was confronted by his mother about these charges against him. He drunkenly admitted sexually abusing children aged 3 to 13, at which point his parents kicked him out of the house. They contacted the police and told them to arrest him. Richard was then back in police custody. He was charged with 91 counts, including the creation of his paedophile manual. He was denied bail by the police and remanded to court, where his latest application for bail was also denied. Due to the severity of the charges, he was transferred to Belmarsh in London to await trial. In January 2016, at the Old Bailey, he pleaded not guilty to all 91 charges, which took over an hour to read in court. Prosecutors started to prepare for 3 separate trials due to the graphic evidence that would be presented to the jury in each trial. In April, Richard pleaded guilty to 71 of the 91 charges due to the request to watch all the evidence against him in court. His victims ranged from age of 6 months to 12 years old. One of the children was abused for a number of years between the ages of 5 and 12. On the site The Love Zone, he shared photos of the crimes with other members. He boasted about his crimes to other paedophiles, posting horrific comments about the abuse. In a series of posts in 2013, he admitted to sexually abusing 4 girls from the same family. He wanted to marry a girl he had sexually abused since the age of 7 and have children with her. In total, prosecutors unveiled 29 victims and more than 20,000 photos and videos, but believe there could be up to 200 victims across Southeast Asia and thousands more photos in encrypted areas of his laptop. The sentencing lasted 3 days. The judge stated that Huckle should expect to go to prison for a very long time, as he was considering multiple life sentences due to the gravity of the offences committed. A statement was read by his lawyer where he blamed his crimes on his immaturity. I really understand and recognise the true scale of damage it caused to the Malaysian community. I had hoped to escape this mundane life of solitude in the UK, yet was overwhelmed by the attention I received in Malaysia. I completely misjudged the affections I received from these children. My low self-esteem and lack of confidence with women was no excuse for me to use these children as an outlet. I am open and eager to rehabilitate from this offending behaviour. I don't want to become a martyr to sex tourism in Malaysia. This was all my doing as a consequence of my immaturity, and I'm truly remorseful." His lawyer really had the nerve to continue and said to the judge, "Please take into consideration his client's young age, his claims of remorse, and the fact that he had no previous convictions." He quoted from Richard's psychiatric report that said he has limited sexual experience with women and suffered depression as a teenager. The lawyer then continued, "Despite the mitigating circumstances, this is the most extensive case of child sex crimes that he has ever been involved in. Convictions were only sought against crimes for which there was complete photographic evidence. His ledger contained details of 200 children that had been abused, but they have been unable to access these to obtain them as evidence." On June 6, 2016, the judge sentenced Richard to life imprisonment on 22 counts with a minimum prison term of 25 years, before being eligible to apply for parole. The judge stated, "You have pleaded guilty to as many as 71 sexual offences. It is very rare indeed that a judge has to sentence sexual offending by one person on such a large scale as this. In my view, you may well harbour feelings of regret, but there is no feeling of genuine remorse in this case." On October 13, 2019, Richard was found strangled and stabbed to death in his cell at Full Sutton Prison in East Yorkshire. It was reported that he was beaten, stabbed and strangled repeatedly. In January 2020, Paul Fitzgerald was charged with his murder. Paul, who was already serving an indeterminate sentence for serious sexual assault, was found guilty by a jury after only 1 hour of deliberation. During the trial, further details were revealed of Richard's violent murder. His hands and feet were bound before being gagged, strangled using electrical cable, and sexually assaulted, having his jaw broken, having a kitchen utensil inserted into his behind, and then having a pen with the blade attached to it inserted into his brain via the nose. The attack was described by the prosecution as a prolonged attack also designed to humiliate and degrade him. Paul was discovered by prison staff straddling his body and surrounded by a pool of blood. He later admitted he had wanted to cook and eat parts of Richard's body following the attack. On November 24, 2020, Paul was sentenced to life imprisonment, a minimum of 34 years in prison before being eligible for parole due to the sadistic and premeditated nature of the attack, which it was revealed during sentencing went on for 78 minutes before the prison staff were made aware. And that's it for today, guys. Please do subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll see you for the next one.